We got some really interesting news on the Montreal Canadiens during this 2025 NHL Scouting Combine. Now, I honestly do think this has been one of the more low-key stories that the NHL has had over the past little while here, with everybody focused on the Stanley Cup Finals and Game 1, which took place yesterday. I think there hasn't really been too much attention placed on the Draft Combine, which is happening in Buffalo and is going to maybe have a big ripple effect throughout the NHL in terms of not just the players that are taken and where it is they could be selected in the draft, but also just some implications on what trades could be made, what signings could happen, and what moves could also be on the horizon. NHL GMs are there, they are talking all to each other, they are talking to the prospects, and for the Montreal Canadiens, obviously, there is a pretty big focus that they should have on the players of the future, and there are also some chances to get involved with contract talks on players that they have already. Let's head over to a tweet posted by Marc-Antoine Gaudin from yesterday. This was last night, during the Edmonton and Florida Panthers game, or just before, but Montreal Canadiens D-man Mike Matheson was indeed in Buffalo, chatting it up with Hughes and Gorton. He spent about an hour and a half with those guys. It wasn't a negotiation per se, but Matheson is eligible to sign a new contract on July 1st and would like to work out a new deal with the Habs. This is interesting, because Mike Matheson isn't really a guy that I think a lot of Canadiens fans have thought about as a quote-unquote long-term option. Like, you hear long-term, you think, okay, Hudson, Demidov, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, guys in their early to mid-20s, and guys that still have a lot of potential to get better and continue growing. Matheson doesn't really have that. He's 31 years old. So, I think, for Canadiens fans who have been trying to project what the roster looks like over the next few years, it's kind of difficult to fit Matheson into that 2028, 2030, 2031 vision that people seem to have for the Canadiens. For good reason. I mean, by the time 2031 comes around, Matheson will be 37 years old. But this is a guy whose contract at $4.875 million is expiring one summer from now, which means that he'll be eligible to sign an extension, and it seems like, according to The Scoop, he wants to get that done, and he is very intent on making it happen. Sure, his production literally halved in this most recent season's worth of play. He went from 62 points in 82 games to 31 points in 80 games. This is all after a 34-point in 48-game campaign with the Canadiens to start out his Habs career. So for Mike Matheson, you can say that his role and his effectiveness has definitely diminished over the past year, especially with the inclusion of Lane Hutson on the top power play. But I think, and this plays into what we had spoken about earlier on, a lot of Canadiens fans expected this. Hey, long-term, it's not going to be Hudson on the power play too. He's going to be that number one guy. He is going to be the Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar-esque tasked defender with the role of being in that same class of guys. Mike Matheson was fine as a top power play D-man last year. Spare the shooting it into the shin pads and avoiding passing to certain Montreal Canadiens young dudes. But Lane Hutson is an entirely new breed of D-men on this team. And Mike Matheson, as long as he's willing to take a pay cut and not be paid that top power play defenseman type money, there's no reason why this guy shouldn't want to sign with the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, if he is fully confident that he can be a number one top power play defenseman on another team, that's totally fine. It is well within his right to request a role that he has played before. It's just right now, it seems like that is beyond what he values the most. It seems like he wants to be on the Canadiens, he wants to commit to this team, and there's no way he wouldn't want to do that if he's talking to Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton for an hour and a half at the gosh darn scouting combine. Like, he doesn't need to be there. He doesn't need to be talking to his GM and his team president for an hour and a half. There's no reason for him to do that unless he was interested in sticking around and unless he liked the folks that run the team. So, Mike Matheson, really big update here. He does want to stick around, and we did get ourselves some good word as to him showing his dedication and wanting to do that. But I wanted to stick with some of the conversations about the NHL Scouting Combine and jump over to a comment made by one Anthony Martineau on Twitter. This is a ridiculous question, and it goes out there and fully encapsulates the spirit of the weird-ass Scouting Combine questions that we usually see out of these NHL teams talking to young prospects, guys who are literally 17, 18 years old. Martineau's tweet says this: "I'm told that the Montreal Canadiens are once again, this year, as rough as they are ever in their approach to talking to the draft class. They test the guy's character a lot by analyzing how they respond to little arrows. Otherwise, here's a question that was asked to Canadiens' potential draftees. You run into Nick Suzuki at the casino at 3 a.m. and Martin St. Louis asked you the next day if you've seen him. What do you say?" Now, of course, there is no proper answer here. Like, there isn't a right or a wrong, there isn't an answer key, it's not multiple choice. What the purpose of this question serves is allowing the Canadiens to get a little bit of insight to the personality of the players that are available in the draft. And personality plays a big part into it. Internal thought processes and decision makings, where your values lie and what you think is right and wrong, these will change from person to person, and they will determine how it is you answer a hypothetical, open-ended question like this. Of course, Nick Suzuki being at the casino at 3 a.m. is not great, but upon being asked if you know where this guy was, how you answer can tell a lot. Do you want to say the truth? You want to say, yeah, I was at the casino at 3 a.m. yesterday, and Nick Suzuki was there. Do you want to incriminate yourself by saying that you went to the casino? Or do you lie? Hey, did you see Nick Suzuki yesterday? No, I didn't. I had no idea what he was doing. I was just at home. I slept. Didn't see him. I think, if you're asking me, we're getting into this conversation now because, yeah, it's a topic, but if you're asking me, I'm kind of thinking, probably just be honest about it. I think, for me personally, it's hard to tell lies, and maybe that comes across as a surprise to some of y'all because of how often I lie in the title of these YouTube videos, but, yeah, I'm joking. Half-heartedly joking, but for me personally, if I'm asked a question, it's very difficult to go out there and say, yeah, I will knowingly and wholeheartedly tell you the wrong thing. But at the same time, you know, I think this will be more of a circumstantial thing where it's like, if you're asked, then you mention it. Like, don't try to walk in the practice in the locker room the next day, be like, hey, Martin, coach, St. Louis, Nick was at the casino yesterday. Like, don't tattletale on the guy. Don't do that. But if St. Louis pulls you over to the side, hey, where was Nick Suzuki yesterday? You best believe you got to tell that guy the truth. Could you imagine lying to Martin St. Louis' face and thinking that you are doing a good thing? I don't know, man. I don't know. Moral ambiguity is a very interesting topic to discuss in the context of sports, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about, firstly, Mike Matheson spending some extra time chatting it up with Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, potentially, maybe, trying to get that contract idea tossed in there? And what are your thoughts on the Habs asking prospects this year if they would tattletale on Nick Suzuki if they saw him at the casino at 3 a.m.? Very interesting conversation indeed, but I want you to let me know in the comments how do you feel about it. I hope you enjoyed this British Ash Roll 99, and bye.